Hello everyone, welcome back to Ifechi family. I just finished a video now and I thought, you know what? While I'm still dressed, let me just do this video that has been in my mind for a while. And this video is about here in the UK, a family here in the UK, a Nigerian family to be precise. They were raising up their children here, everything seemed to be going well. But when they talk in the house, there are things that were said and the children were listening. And some of these things that were said by the parents, the children were listening because good thing that the children could hear their native language. Because sometimes we worry, oh, why is it that our children can't hear our language? It's a good thing for them to hear our language. But at the same time, remember, when they hear our language, there are certain things you say and do, and they will copy and they will listen. So this couple were discussing something that they should not really be talking about. Some of the things that we can do back home and get away with it. I'm not going to spill what it is. I just want this lesson to be learned from this. So they were saying something that that shouldn't really be happening here. When you come to a country, learn how they behave, what they do. If you are not able to abide by the rules and regulations, then you have to decide whether you really want to be in that place. I've always said I've lived in the UK more than I've lived in Nigeria, where I come from. Well, at the same time, there are things here in the UK that I frown at and I never want to get used to, and I'm not used to them. But there are ways, a lot of several good things that I've learned here in the UK, and one of them is being transparent. Making sure that you are transparent and that you say the truth and you do the right thing, whether somebody is looking or not. I'm not saying that all of them do the right thing here. I won't even say that it's the UK that made me like that. I think it's my nature to be transparent. I can't, if I don't do something right, if I'm not transparent, I'm not talking about in my marriage now, because that one is is very, very the way to go. But even with people out there, I like to be transparent. I like to tell the people the truth, and I like people to tell me the truth as well. And I like to tell people how I feel about things. So this particular couple I was talking about, they were talking about something, and the child was listening, and the child was innocent child. When the child went to school, they were saying something, and then he disclosed what the parents were saying. I overheard my mom and dad saying that they're going to do this and that. As I said, I'm not going to share what they were saying here, but obviously it wasn't a right thing to be talking about or even to do. Whether as a parent, as a human being, you have to know the right thing to do. And it's even becomes more of an issue when you are raising up children and you're telling them, don't do this, don't do that, and they are listening and watching you. And you're not. I did a video before regarding the father that was very strict with her daughter. Lo and behold, they met each other in a pub when the father told their mom lies and went out. So if you're a parent, it's not just what you say, it's what you do. What you say, yes, and also what you do. Because what those couple were discussing, the parents were discussing, they didn't know that their son overheard them, and their son went to school and shared it with his friends. And his friends were like, oh, this shouldn't be happening. And they're all innocent discussion with the children. They told their own parents, and they're like, this is not right. And from there, this thing leaked, and you know how it is here now. Once everything is heard and it's a cause of concern, or if it's a safeguarding issue, social service, and you have young children, social services will come in, they'll start snooping around, they'll start asking questions, and woe betide you if you now know that your child has taken what they heard or what has been happening at home out there, and then they want to investigate you or ask questions, and you want to deny in front of the child, and the child will be saying, this is what happened, and you are trying to deny it. That means you're making that child a liar. That's even two things. You've committed two offenses there. So let us be very careful. Parenting is not easy. You have to watch yourself. You have to watch your children. You have to watch your behavior, especially here in the diaspora. Maybe in where we come from, maybe it may not be a big issue. The child may not even say anything. Even if he says anything to any child, the child won't care. But here, things are done and said differently. So be very careful when you come. Learn where you are in. So when you come to a country or in anywhere you're going to, learn the culture, learn how things are done. You can still maintain your own culture to some extent, but when it comes to the law and order, make sure that you follow how it is done where you are, so that you don't put yourself into trouble. Lots of people have have entered into trouble here in the UK because of the way they've done things at home. And innocently, children will go out there and say things. There are things you don't do here. You have to learn these things. You have to listen to people who have been here before. And people tell each other the truth as well. Tell people so that people will understand that this kind of thing, you don't do it here, or you don't do this here. Do everything, because when you go against the law, there's nothing like, when you go against the law, there's nothing like, I'm sorry. Sorry for what? So no, they don't hear I'm sorry here. So you just have to, everything is written down. It's just like when you go to work, you sign your contract. Make sure you read that contract very well. There might be things in that contract that you may, if you do something against that is in that contract, you'll be in for it. And people will be like, no, it wasn't there, I didn't see it. Then they will point you back to that contract. So make sure when you get contract in your place of work, read it before you sign. Make sure that everything, because once you sign it, that means I agree to abide by everything in that contract. So what am I trying to say? When you come into a country, especially when you have children, be very careful what you do and what you say. These children, as I said, they don't mean to put you in trouble, but they will go out there and say things innocently. And then people will be like, oh my God, this should not be happening. And they'll flag it up. And please, when they flag it up, and if you're being asked questions about that, the last thing you will do will be to start denying or making that child a liar, because that is even worse than what you've done. So onto it and see how you're going to wriggle yourself out of it, if you can, depending on what it is. But all in all, let us be very careful. The children we're raising up now are way ahead of us. It's not like when I raised my own children up. Things have moved on, and it will continue to move on. So you have to be very careful, especially even back home where you are. You won't say that, oh, because there's no law and order, you do what you like, because those children are going to be adults tomorrow. They're going to be ones tomorrow that will be showing others examples. So what they learn from home, what they learn from their parents, is what they're going to transport out there. So what am I trying to say in this video is, parents, I'm directing it to the diaspora because that's where I am, and I've seen lots of people getting into problems. I've seen lots of children getting into young offenders unit because of crime or problem or association or stuff like that. Don't be too busy for your children. Listen to them, show them good example. If you think that something is going wrong, or if you see them handling or wearing something that you did not buy for them, make sure that you question it and address it. Because if you keep leaving things, they'll keep piling up. One day, they will get into big trouble. And then, once they are, found guilty, they'll put them into young offenders unit or into prison, depending on their age group. And that is not what you want for any of your children. So I'm going to stop this particular video here. And I think I'll be bringing in more things like this. Once I hear things that I will need to address for people to learn from, I'll bring them up. So I'm going to stop this particular video here. I don't want it to be too long. Thank you so much for listening. Keep looking after yourselves. Keep looking after your family. Keep enjoying your life. Keep smiling. Goodbye and God bless.